All right, welcome everybody to the Genesis Mindset. So this is the second episode today. So I'm just going to go through a lot of the questions that I've had today about the LAU, the LAU token. So I wanted to clear up some of the questions that I had. And so basically I wanted to just go over the process that I went through with Adam yesterday. So that was a long stream. It was a 3-hour stream. So we had a lot of errors in that particular stream. So if you've had difficulty, I would recommend checking out that stream from yesterday with Adam from Viber Finance so that you can figure out what some of those errors are. If not, I'd recommend just following along with this one, and hopefully there won't be any errors in this particular one. So I've got all the links in the description so you can follow along. But basically, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to dysnomia.icu and you're going to connect here in the top. Actually, I'm going to flip this around because it always just looks a bit weird. So anyway, you connect here when you go to this website, dysnomia.icu, and you would go to user and you would add new user. And so you would enter whatever you would want. So whatever, blah. So you would put your token name and then the token symbol. There's a lot of UTF-8 symbols in the Atropa ecosystem, in the Dysnomia ecosystem. So for example, coexistent Stephen, I had the peace symbol, and then Coco, I made it with double yin and yang. So coexistent Stephen was like this. And then you just put your username. So obviously here you can see this is the username for people chatting. So DJ Jones, Oyster, this is people's usernames. I got Coco here. So I'm going to use, I'll use Coco as an example. So let's say now you've created Coco, so you should, or your whatever your token is, you should have no issue there. And I've replicated the chat username. So when you create it, then it'll go onto the blockchain, and you'll see it. You'll see it with this particular Dysnomia new contract. So I also, you don't know me. Oh boy, I think, yeah, I had a real valuable, I don't know how to think of it, but the PDI, I did a PDI video where I was trying to present a thesis that it could go lower. And it was almost like, for people to not panic, and if you're getting friends on board to help them accumulate more. But I had a real massive backfiring because of the thumbnail. So no one really listened to the thesis. They got sucked into the thumbnail and the title. So I was like, you don't know me. But anyway, shit, that's my mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I got to figure out a way of how to attract people's attention without, because I know that that's what's actually, I mean, I've been doing this for over a year now, and I know that this is what gets people's attention. So anyway, so once you create the token, you'll see it be created here. So this also is in the description. So for example, Coco will be in here somewhere. So this is still today. Nice. So heaps of people have been creating tokens from that stream from yesterday. Really nice. So here was Adam's that he made, Viber Finance, and this is mine, Coco, I'm in love. So good morning, Malphite. Yes and no. I won't go into that too much. So yeah, there was someone in the chat being Almighty was, he was stirring some things up. He said some things that were very uncalled for. So I know the title of the PDR video was going to get you in trouble. Bro, do you think it was the using the words, the simplicity of the words? So even, what could I have said? So PDI is dropping, or just take away, obviously collapsing is the wrong kind of word, right? And putting it in the title, but I know that that's what gets people to watch it. That's the thing that sucks, man. It really sucks. So, but anyway, I appreciate that. Maybe I need someone to be an advisor on this. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, I shouldn't do this, but I knew it was also going to get the views. So yeah, so I was just trying to be, Thanks, Rye. So at least some people appreciate the honesty. So collapsing is the wrong word, definitely. But was it not? It collapsed out of that. It collapsed out of that little triangle, did it not? But I guess collapsing is a very dramatic word. But anyway, lesson learned. Stephen is an idiot. Now let's move on. So now it'll be created, and then if you don't have Telegram, Telegram's almost somewhat essential with cryptocurrency, and in terms of like keeping in tune with everything. So I use Telegram to keep in tune with the market. So I mean, I've got so many chats here; it's too many. But yeah, I use it to really keep in tune with the market. But in any case, this Dysnomia new contracts is a good way to know when your token is launched. So now this is something that I wanted to clear up as well, because there was a lot of confusion yesterday between Adam and I about the definition of things. So I kept saying contract address, which is exactly what it is. So when you create something on the blockchain, it has a contract address. So the contract address, the token address, is the same as a contract address. This is the contract address for Coco. I'm in love. Now, where we had a lot of confusion was when we created this. So this deployer, what it's doing is it's interacting with another contract. So this Dysnomia self-snipe 3.sol, thanks to Bay 2.0, not Helios. So it's interacting with a contract, and then it creates a contract address that you connect with your LAU token, because this contract address is basically gives you access to the self-snipe contract that he's created here. So anyway, so now let's go through this process. So the Dysnomia self-snipe, you would go to broadcast, and then I would copy and paste. Oops, I didn't. Oops. I didn't copy the token address there. So copy the token address, which is the contract address. Copy it here. And then the multipliers, where we had some confusion, right? So I told him 18 was the max, which is true, but it's actually, it's like, it does 1 already with the chat and snipe, and then it multiplies it by 17. So it's 1 and then another 17, which totals 18. So if you put any more than 17, it's not going to work. And I believe his error was something along the lines of like, it's doing like an overreach or an underreach. And that's what the error was saying, something like this. So if I understood coding more, I mean, it's telling you right there, it's doing like an overdraw or something like this. So that's exactly what it was doing. So if the maximum is 18 and we're telling it, if I put a 18 here, it's telling it to do it 19 times because it's doing it 1 and then another 18 times. So it actually was like an overreach or overdraw, whatever the term was, I can't remember. So the error was actually telling us what the problem was, but you kind of have to like pick apart the language. So then you would press deploy, interact with the contract, and it would deploy. So I've already got it deployed. So then it will come up in here. So I've got a few deployed in here with all my other LAU tokens. And then here it would have like, it would be red. So I would click the red, and then you would go through and you would approve it. And then what it's doing, it's giving you the contract address. So now this contract address, it's not your LAU token. This contract address is the contract address associated with this Dysnomia self-snipe contract that's just been created. So now we're basically like attaching this self-snipe contract to our LAU token, which has its own contract address, which is this one here, which is the 3A59. So we can confirm here. What happened here? Rect. Why won't it let me go across? Yeah, 3A59. And then once we did that, we would simply copy this. And because I did it as chat and snipe with multiply, so there's all these different things. So I would encourage you to basically treat this like something that you want to just know what all the buttons are. So go along, press all these buttons, see what they do. So read is basically reading what's there. So you're just reading the blockchain. You're opening it up like opening a book. Write is you're actually writing in the blockchain. So for example, chat and snipe, we're writing in the blockchain. We're actually using gas to interact with the blockchain because we want to like imprint on it. We want to write into it. Read is just like reading what's there on the blockchain, so we don't have to use any gas for that, right? We're only using it when we're writing into it, or and the other functions. So I mean, in a way, like swapping a token is kind of a form of like writing into the blockchain in a way. So I would encourage you to go through all of these, but in the instance of this, we're just doing the chat and snipe. So because I chose to have the multiplier as 17, which means it's going to mint 18 tokens. So we take this chat and snipe with multiplier, we type that into the custom contract function and just copy and paste that contract address, which we copied from here. So that's done. Then what we want to do is we want to get our LAU token contract address, which is this one, the user address. And then we're going to the bytecode, the DDoB decompiler, and we're going to enter our contract address here. So we had a big slip up yesterday trying to work this out yesterday because we ended up copying the wrong contract address. So again, this contract address is related to the self-snipe contract. This one is related to the LAU token. So this is only relevant. These functions are only relevant for this contract. These functions are relevant for everything in the LAU token. So now what we're doing is we're going to put this aside. So now we're forgetting this for now, and we're going to now focus back on the LAU contract. So now we're using that contract address, copy and pasting it here. We're going to decompile it, and then this will take a few seconds. And then for you guys, I think I'm logged in. So because I'm logged in, it's going to, my screen and your screen will be slightly different. So my decompiled, because I'm logged in, it's showing me the actual code. So this is the actual code. Your decompile is going to be like a series of, it's just going to be like all blue random letters, right? And numbers. So just, that doesn't matter because we only need the ABI. So we go to the ABI, we press ABI, we copy and paste this ABI. So this was something that I was trying to share with Adam yesterday, but Control A is select all, and then Control C is copy. I mean, this is for Windows, but you can also just go here into the top right. And now what I did was, I've already done this, but I'll just go through the process again. So I would go to add. So this is the next website. So again, I'm following these websites in the sequence that they're delivered in the description. So it's nice and clear for everybody. I would go to import, which is the third blue from the left. I would copy and paste the ABI here. I would copy and paste my contract address for my LAU token up the top here. Up in the middle there. And then I would call it, I mean, I copied and pasted whatever your token name is. It doesn't need to match what your token name is, but obviously like I want it to match. So it's just easily distinguishable. So, but it's not like it's not going to work if you put a different name. So, and then you would press save and then it would load it here. And so I've got here all the different contract addresses that I've been like having a look at and exploring and messing around with. So I've got Coco here. So then I look at all the functions. And so again, we've got read. And the reason why I wanted to show this, again, I want to be very, very clear. So the LAU tokens, Maria has invented what possibly could be the first truly random number generator. So I might do an episode on this. I'm going to try and do an episode on this as well, because I think it's a very important concept. And this is something that Vivian, Dr. Scamcoin, shared with me. But I don't know if I'm like capable of presenting that level of information. I mean, most of the Atropa ecosystem I really feel inadequate presenting, but nobody else is doing it. So I'm just trying. So basically what happens is it will generate you a random starting supply based on that random number generator. So all of these you can see here, the token supply 1535. The token supply for atoms was 2244. He had a cool starting supply. So 2675 on learning, 4172, 43, 2772, 1421, so on and so forth. So they're all completely random. So that is going to be, so I can see what my total supply. Now, my total supply when I first started obviously was, it was 1535. But because I've been minting since then, now my total supply is 1735. So basically you subtract all these 18 zeros, because the way that it kind of calculates the numbers, I think it's got something to do with like the hex decimal or something like this, something to do with coding language. But don't ask me why. This is probably going to be something that Not Helios is going to fix in the future. I certainly hope he does, because it makes it like really tricky to explain. But basically ignore all these zeros. But obviously yesterday this would have started at the 1535, but because I've been minting more, my total supply keeps going up. My total supply that I currently have in my ownership, whether that be in liquidity pools or in my wallet, is 1735. But my maximum supply is different, So this is the maximum supply, which is also randomly generated. My maximum supply is 95,472. And Adam's was different. Everybody's is going to be different. So my coexistent Stephen maximum supply. So for example, you'll see that coexistent Stephen LAU, the maximum supply is 17,308. So that's also generated by the random number supply. So I wanted people to get used to this so they can see, this is what the random number generator is doing. And then this is what my max supply is doing. So just to show the differentiation, and then you could also strategize based on that, how you might want to bond that particular token, how you might want to create the ratio. Then, of course, you can do the right. So again, I would encourage you to really interact with all of these and just see what they say, see what they do. So just click buttons. Spender, what does that mean? So the spender must be something to do with the wallet address. So, I mean, I could copy and paste this wallet address here, see what it does, and I'd press whoops, and then it brought up my. I mean, I've never done this before, but I could do this, and then just see what it does. We in Dysnomia we call this FAFO, fuck around and find out. So you just kind of press some buttons. And I have no idea what this is going to do. It's going to approve. So it's going to approve me as a spender to spend this token. So you know when you've never, I'm not going to do this because I don't want to waste the gas, but you know when you basically maybe buy like a random token and then you go to try to swap it, and it will be like PulseX will ask you to approve it first in your wallet that you can actually spend that token. So it wants to verify that, hey, this is actually you doing it. So sign it and say that you're going to approve it. That's what it's doing here. That's the function that it's calling in this particular thing here. So hopefully that makes sense. So hopefully everyone's following along. So I'm just going to have a look at some of these, anything that's going on in the comments here. Yeah, that's it, Malfight. But I did feel bad, especially when Moon King, because Moon King's like a bit of a, well, not a bit of a, he's very much a, what are they called? Like a mentor. I don't know if that's the right word, but I really look up to the Moon King. And he did the emoji with the Pinocchio nose, and I was like, oh man, but I actually do genuinely feel that it's going to go lower. So yeah, anyway, people are just so sensitive to titles because of volatility in crypto. Exactly, man. But hey, I mean, I'm looking at people like yourself, Ryan. I'm like, I want it to go lower. If it goes to 1 cent, then you can get some more. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at everybody that's in it. I'm looking at everybody that could be in it, because if my thesis is that it's going to go to $1, if it gets to $1 tomorrow, then you miss out. But if it gets to $1 in a year, then you can get more. So it's just like, can't other people have this mindset of like, we all win together? The more of us that are in there, the better. Like, why is this so hard? Why is this such a difficult thing to kind of have this kind of a mindset? But in any case, clickbait or cuckbait. Yeah, it was a pull. It was a pullback. Exactly. But also, I mean, again, I presented the thesis based on my previous theses with the Atropa ecosystem. So double bubble, maybe the best way to describe it, one is the token contract address, while the other, Dysnomia self snipe, is a function contract address. That's nice, Malfight. There you go. I would agree with that. So that is a good way to describe it. So this is a function contract address, and then this is the actual contract address. But the problem is, I mean, this says token address, and then this says user address. So all the like, you want everything to be as like correlated as possible. So all three of my pools got wrecked. So they got wrecked in the same way that Adams got wrecked yesterday because of the ratios that we set. So I'll show you how to do this in just a minute, Sergey. So good to see you here. The token and the Dysnomia self-snide are both smart contracts, but one is a token address, the other is a function contract. There we go, man. Nice one. So thanks for helping others understand this stuff, mate. No problem, Peanut Brain. My pleasure. So Peanut Brain, XUSD, it's coming, baby. It's coming. Catching this midstream, going to come back and rewatch when I concentrate on it. Nice one, Conspiracy. Hey, Adam, nice to see you, man. Just woke up from a dream and we were all on a school bus talking about Pt I. Oh shit! Was Pt I $1 million yet, or was it negative 100 and Maria rugged it? That's a cool dream. But you know, like dreams, it's like it's like you're feeling the vibes of the planet. So it's almost just like, you know, we're putting that vibes out. You and I had this stream yesterday. It's like not coincidental as far as I'm concerned. So Moon King. The Moon King. I know XUSD. It's coming, bro. Once I studied it, once I understood it, I was like, I mean, I'm not deeply studied it, but I was like, this is sick. This is a really, 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 really cool concept as a supporting mechanism for the rest of the P stable. So, is the stable being created in Ouroboros? I'm not too sure. Maybe you could answer that, Peanut Brain. All right, so let's keep going with this. So now I've gone through all of that. So now you would have created your token and everything's all done. So now let's go about setting the ratio now. So this was something where a lot of people were having the confusion about. So really, if you need to pause this to make sense, then do it. So with my cocoa, I'm in love with the cocoa. So now with my cocoa, there'll be certain swaps now where the number's probably not going to be exact anymore. But yesterday, I believe I did it to like 0.1 was 10,000. I think it was like this. So was it 0.01 or 0.1 or something like this? I think it was maybe 0.01. Yeah, I think it was 0.01 was 10,000. So that was the ratio that I set. So one cocoa was equal to, I mean, before it said 10,000. Now it's giving this like completely trash thing. You know what? Actually, I'm going to use one of my, I'm going to just for the purposes of this, I'll do it again with one of my tokens that I've not set anything up. Let's do it with nature. I think this is nature. Which one is it? This one, nature. What's this one called? True mind. There's mother, and then this is nature. Nature's flow. All right, let's do it with nature's flow. So 269 again. See nature's flow. It's got a different token supply. I haven't set up any liquidity pools with that. Hey, Malfart was paying attention. 0.001. Is that what I did on yesterday's stream? I can't remember. So now I'm just going to get the contract address because every time. So now even though I've created it here, PulseX is its own independent thing. So PulseX is not going to be able to read my contract. So I need to take my contract address and I need to go to PulseX and add it into PulseX. And then what I was trying to explain to Adam yesterday as well is, that was one that I didn't actually add here. So Pulse 369. It's one of my favorite websites for reading token. Like it just shows the most comprehensive tokens and LPs. So for example, DBank didn't have everything. Pulse, what was the other one that people use? Go Pulse doesn't have all of them. I found this one to be like, it shows everything. So I really liked it. So I can go here. When you create the token, so here you can see nature's flow, CU cone. So remember I was explaining, so you can go back to yesterday's stream. I was explaining that there's these 3 other tokens that get minted at the same time when you create your token. So you have like this, for example, when I created this, the nature's flow token, plus you have the CU cone. Plus, you'll also have the rod cone. And then there was also the Shio cone, which is the chat logs Shio. And I think, yeah, see the chat log Shio. I don't know which one of these is the chat log Shio associated with nature's flow. So that's possibly a bit of a problem. But yeah, see how there's like so many chat log Shios. So one of those is with nature's flow. But in any case, the point is what I'm showing. The point of why I'm showing this is you could also don't necessarily do this. This is just what I saw somebody else do, so I did it as well. I basically created a liquidity pool with nature's flow, and I also created it with the CU cone and the rod. But basically, they're going to have some sort of function in the game. So from memory, I think the rod was some kind of function related to basically interacting with the blockchain without interacting with the blockchain, as in you don't need to like confirm everything. And the CU cone was also something to do with your character. I can't remember. Go watch yesterday's stream. It's something that I'm going to need to keep learning again and again and again and again. Okay, so that's the only reason why I'm showing this. So now what we want to do is we're going to copy and paste our contract address, go to PulseX. And so now I've added it in here. So you press the drop down here, you copy and paste, and then I've already added it here. So now I've got my nature's flow contract address here. So you can see here, there is no liquidity between these pools. As a matter of fact, I don't think there's any liquidity pools with nature's flow, but I'm going to verify this because I actually can't remember. So liquidity pools versal.app. So that's the other. That will be in the description as well. It might not be in the top part of the description, but it is going to be somewhere down the bottom. So I'm just going to see if there is any liquidity pools with this, just so I can make sure that I can create liquidity pools with this without there actually being already some liquidity pools. I can't remember because I could have done this on another stream. So it doesn't look like there's any liquidity pools with this. Great. So there's no ratios with this. So for this one, I'm just going to do 1-to-1 with affection. Yesterday, I did 1 to 10,000 affection, which means one token is valued at 10,000 affection tokens. Whereas with this one token is going to be valued with 1 affection token. So the first liquidity pool that you create is going to set the ratio that the arbitrage bots are going to be looking at. So this is why people were getting arbed out. This is why when you start creating another liquidity pool, you get wrecked, or that liquidity pool gets wrecked. So what I do is I'll always end up opening another tab, just because I'll use one to look at basically setting up ratios, and I'll use the other one to set up the liquidity pools. It just makes things easier for me. So now we go to trade, drop down liquidity, add liquidity, and then I'll go to nature's flow. So nature's flow is in here. And then we want to go to affection. I want that to be the first, simply because affection is the gateway into the Atropa ecosystem, into the Dysnomia ecosystem. And again, to the best of my knowledge, there's no other videos on affection on YouTube. So if you just look up like Dysnomia affection, or like Atropa affection, you'll be able to find it. Or if you just go to my YouTube, and you type, if you're on the computer, it's so easy. You can't do this on the phone, but I'll just show. Oh, shit. Oh, no, dark mode is on. Yeah, you can do it easily on the computer, but not so easily on the phone. You have to use the search function on the phone. So let's go here. Where's my channel? I'll go to my channel. And then I'll go to the search function. So in my channel now, I'm going to the search function. Oh, no, all the white. No. All right, so then I'll type in affection. So if you want to learn about affection, I think actually KSB TV would have been talking about affection. So I've shown how to like mint affection, what it means. And then this was the first one. This is where I became like mega bullish on affection, because I just, Adam was talking about having a dream about Pt I. It's all just frequencies and vibrations and energy, man. Like when your mind is connected to the source, your thoughts just come from there. Well, your true thoughts come from there. This is why when we're in a dream state, we're like less inside of our picture world. But when we're in our awake state, we're like bang, right 100% in our picture world. So we're in like all the stuff that's in our mind from the past. But because I'm discarding all that shit from my mind, which serves no purpose whatsoever, I can connect more with the source, right? So I ended up just making this video out of random. I was like, how to find the next 10,000x within the Atropa ecosystem. And again, that's clickbait, right? No one attacked me on that. And no one's ever going to remember if affection ever does a 10,000x, because it's like with the negative ones you get attacked for more. But yeah, I got to take that lesson. So, but I just did this because I was just like, okay, how to find the next 10,000x. And I saw this thing affection, and I just did this video. This was literally the next one. But in actuality, I had no idea that affection was a gateway to Dysnomia at the time. I didn't even know that Maria was building out affection, because I'd sort of stopped looking at the chat logs at that particular time. So I made this video and it's like, wow, this could actually be a 10,000x. And that was a pure coincidence, but I don't see anything as a pure coincidence. So that was my first indicator to me that was like, oh, I need to be like balls deep in affection, because I follow the synchronicities that the universe gives me. So yeah, learn about affection, because affection is very key to this ecosystem. You can also look up maybe like KSB TV, Maria interviews. Maria does a great interview with Maddie. So these are the Zurich. This is when Maria first doxed himself. And then there was maybe KSB TV, Maria Amsterdam. Anyway, if you just go to the KSB TV, you'll be able to find it. So then this is the long talk that Maria does. And then this is the one where he talks a lot about dysnomia. So I'm going to try and like do a breakdown of this in more detail, because the more I listen to it and as I'm interacting with it, I'm like, now it's making more sense. So in any case, yeah, those are the things that you can look up to help you like learn more about it, for people that do want to learn more about it. So Maria basically suggested that we should do affection 1-to-1. And then he was talking about, or it's going to be interesting when people bond their LAU token with affection and they swap their LAU token into affection and then buy out their initial supply. So that's why 1-to-1 just makes it easy. But again, yesterday's stream, I did 1-to-1,000, but today I'm just going to do 1-to-1, which means this is easy. I can just do 1-to-1 and it's going to cost gas. But because I'm just going to do it with, let's do it with 50. I mean, it's going to be like way too small. I mean, this is why I also like, see, it's way too small because my supply is tiny. But anyway, this will end up being like a little experiment for Nature's Flow. So 80 cents. I mean, it's going to cost more in gas. So 84 cents. So that means the value of this liquidity pool is going to be 84 cents. Plus now the value of Nature's Flow is going to be worth 50 tokens is going to be worth the same amount because this is going to be the first liquidity pool. So this is the ratio. I'm setting the ratio at 1-to-1. So when people are asking me about the ratio and getting wrecked, this is the ratio. It's 1-to-1 with affection. However, if I do it like this, which is what I did yesterday, the ratio is 1 to 10,000 with affection. So the ratio is just like, the Bitcoin. Bitcoin now, the ratio between Bitcoin and the US dollar is like 10,000 US dollar, what is it? 106,000 US dollars will buy you one Bitcoin. That's the ratio. I don't know what the price of Ethereum is. I have no idea, but I think it's like 3,000 or 4,000. So the ratio of the US dollar to one Ethereum is like 4,000 US dollars to one Ethereum. That's just what a ratio is. So this is why cryptocurrency is a little bit different. Like breaking the mold of the US dollar is like really key. So the ratio here is 10,000 affection to one Nature's Flow. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to do 1-to-1. But then obviously, because it's 1-to-1, I can also end up putting more in that liquidity pool. So if I wanted to put more than just one in the starting liquidity pool, I can either just, so for example, if I wanted the ratio to be like this, I can just create it and then it will just automatically be like that. So I don't need to work it out after I've created that liquidity pool. So as soon as if I then come and put 10 in here, it will end up putting in automatically 100,000 affection. So I hope that makes sense. But obviously, because for the purpose of this, I can make, it's still 1-to-1. Oops, not there. It's still going to be 1-to-1. If I do 100,000 and 100,000, it's still 1-to-1. So 1 equals 1. So I hope that makes it very clear. So again, just for the purposes of this, I'm just going to do 100, 100, and I'm going to create that. And then this is going to establish the price. This is going to establish the price of Nature's Flow. So then the blockchain is going to go, all right, Nature's Flow now is worth that much. So Nature's Flow, if the dollar value of 100 affection is 168, then basically like one Nature's Flow is going to be like 0.16 cents, one Nature's Flow. So that's going to establish its price. So then everything is going to get compared to that in terms of price. So I hope that makes sense. So now we're enabling it, and then I'm going to supply it. I'm just going to go through some of these questions quickly while that's happening. You might be thinking of BUSD or something. That was for the XUSD. It's a stable being created on Pulse Chain. Malphite, really cool system, devved by Surfacing, who has worked with the Atropa ecosystem. Yeah, and I had a chat with, I really liked Surfacing. I had a chat with him, and he seemed like a really, really nice dude. And like they did a live stream as well. So my feel for people is what I base them on. If I feel uncomfortable with them, I mean, there's a variances of reasons why I would feel comfortable on them. I'm not going to go into the levels of details of that with this particular stream, but also like, yeah, you can really tell when somebody's a rat, basically. So, and he wasn't one. When your mind is clear, you can really tell because it's all just vibrations, right? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, Jesus knew who Judas was. He knew who he was because it's all just energy and vibrations. Like, he knew who Judas was. Would be cool to see a real simple swap you do in for LP sometime, Steve, like a walkthrough from minting to adding to a pool after a pump or a dip to introduce ARB. I will try to show that, and I will show that process in this one. Actually, I was trying to show that yesterday, but we were getting wrecked. And again, it appears like we're getting wrecked. Why is this taking so long? What's going on? Bro, like, what? Why is it taking so long? Every time that I do a stream. So I'll keep going through those questions. I'll look it up. Give me a sec to farm or a Titanx project. Okay, there's a lot of relationships between this and Titanx. Even Helios, I was mentioning Helios to Adam yesterday, and he was talking about Titanx. So when airdrop, airdrop for what, sir? No airdrop. This is all the LAU tokens. So this is you making your own token. So unless you're referring to something else. May suggest something very politely. Can we stay on topic? When following along, it gets hard when you jump all around. Yep. Sorry. My apologies, Robert. I'm doing the best that I can. It gets hard because I'm trying to follow the chat as well. So, yeah, I'll do my best to try and go along. So, all right. Let me clear this. Okay, so because I'm also conscious of like in that comment, which is a great comment, by the way, Robert, I totally agree. It makes it simple and easy for people to follow when you just follow a particular strand. But I also hate like just me staring at the screen like this. I feel like there's like this kind of tension and maybe people are going to leave and get bored. All right, so it still hasn't created. But this is the problem with the blockchain because, yeah, it's still saying enabled. So I'm just going to close this and I'm going to, I'll just use it with this one for now. Let's just create the liquidity with just one and then we'll get the ratios after. So nature's flow and then affection. And hopefully this is a bit better. Enable. Confirm. So let's hope that this is, yes, thanks guys for those comments. I appreciate that. It's an interesting dynamic. It's an interesting dynamic of like trying to keep things in a logical flowed order and then also trying to like keep attention on this and then keep attention on what people are saying. It's quite tricky. I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at it, but yeah, it is an interesting dynamic. So again, it looks like why does it do this? Again, I think it's uncanny. It's uncanny. It never does this during the day when I'm doing this. Only ever when I'm streaming. It's really uncanny. So it's still going. It's still enabling. But anyway, the point of the ratio for this particular part should be clear. So now I'm gonna go back now to using Cocoa as an example. So we'll just ignore nature's flow for now. So we're going to go with nature's flow and ignore nature's flow. So now I'm just going to open up my second. And this is what I was talking about where I'm pricing everything. So remember Cocoa to affection. So here we go. You can see here. So one Cocoa. And obviously there's been a bit of price variance. So one Cocoa is worth, well, basically I would have set the ratio to 10,000. But because there's been some shifts in price, Then obviously now it's worth 97,000. So the reason why I have this here is, I'm just going to connect this. It came through. I think it ended up coming through. So now we can go back to, I'll go back to nature's flow now. Well, that's good anyway. Let me just make sure that it did go through. No, I'll stick with Cocoa, guys. Sorry, because the transaction receipt said that it worked. But anyway, so then what I did, because affection is my first pool, I'm pricing everything against affection. So Cocoa priced to affection was 1 to 10,000. Nature's flow priced to affection was 1 to 1. So now I'm just going to price everything against affection in the same way that your stocks are priced against the US dollar. Cryptocurrencies are priced against the US dollar. I'm pricing it against affection. So then what I did was I would get, whatever token that I want to create. It makes it easier. So let's say I want to do a teddy bear pool. So I would just make one. So one. So what does one affection equal to one teddy bear? So one affection to one teddy bear is 178,579. So then here, if I want to make a teddy bear pool, I'll put this here. So see here, it says you're the first liquidity provider. So, okay, that's our first ratio to one affection. But this is obviously incorrect, right? Because remember, one Cocoa was equal to 10,000 affections. So this ratio is way off. So basically, this is essentially saying 10,000 affection, and then this is saying one affection, because one affection equals this much teddy bear, and 10,000 affection equals this much Cocoa. I hope that makes sense. So now I'm going to price it against Cocoa. So now I'm going to go to Cocoa. So I'm in love. So now 1. And the reason why I do it in 1 again is because I always, the minimum amount of price impact as possible. So for example, if I did like this, if I wanted to put 10,000 worth of affection in there, look at this price impact. So you might be looking at this going, all right, I want to price it against affection with 10,000 affection, but you got this massive price impact because there's not that much liquidity in that pool. So the actual amount of Cocoa that you're going to get for that 100,000 is not accurate. It's not 100% accurate. Remember, it should be more like 0.1. So therefore, I just always do it against 1, because it's like one affection is like worth like, I mean, here you can see 0.02, right? So it's worth like nothing. So there's going to be minimal price impact. So I know, okay, one affection equals that much Cocoa. So then I can do that. So now I can supply the pool, and basically what this is saying, this is just another way of saying one affection equals one affection, except we're saying one affection equals one Cocoa equals that many Cocoa, and one affection equals that many teddy bear. I hope that's clear. Let me know if that's not clear. I hope that's clear. So, no comments, so it seems like it's clear. Now, if I want to, because obviously each time that you do this, especially when the blockchain is going crazy, the gas is high. So each time, if I do this now, the gas will be high, and then I want to add more in, then I'm paying like double the gas, right? So at the moment, I'm really only putting like 0.016 cents in there. So see here, teddy bear, like 0.02 cents, right? So if I want to put more into this liquidity pool, let's say I want to put $5 in there, for example, I'll just take these numbers. So this is what I always do. I'll take these numbers and then I'll multiply that by, let's say I want to put $5 worth in there. So then my affection, I'll work out what is 5 affection, how many dollar values is 5 affection worth. So I'm going to put 333 here. So that means I'm going to take these numbers and multiply them by 333, and that's going to give me like $5.60 on both sides. I hope that makes sense. So then I'm taking this number, multiplying by 333. And then I'll take that and then paste that in there. And then I'll do the same here and then multiply that by 333. And still, it's still going to be the same ratio. The ratio hasn't shifted at all. All I've done is it's still the 1-to-1, but all I've done is I've just added more in there. So it's still 1-to-1, but I've just added more in there. So hopefully that makes sense. Stephen, it is too complicated. Start a new LAU token, set a very high value for it, set your LAU against stable only, then do a second LP where you set your LAU against another different stable, then do it at a different ratio and show how the bots affect it. Start a new LAU token, set a very high ratio for it. Okay, all right. So, okay, well, let's do it with all right, so I'll again try re-explaining this. So now we're going to use a new LAU token. So it shows what not to do. I'm not sure. It shows what not to do. I'm not sure what you mean, Malphite. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean. So basically, this nature's flow is a new, it is a new LAU token, but it's just not letting me do it. It's not letting me do it. But I'll do the same. I'll do it with a super high ratio. It will show how you have to keep the same ratio when setting up new LPs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether, so even with Coco, if the ratio is 1 to 10,000 with affection or 1-to-1, it's still the same with the US dollar. No. It will show how, so it, all right, hang on, let me see. So you won't get wrecked in your value as long as you keep the ratio the same. I can understand how this is now going to start to get complicated because I'm answering these questions. Maybe I do need to just do a pre-recorded version of this and just show the process and do it pre-recorded and then just show it from A, B, C. Because now that I'm answering questions, I feel like it's going to start to convolute people's understanding. But I thought maybe if I had it open like this, people asking questions is a good idea. Then I can answer the questions. Show how setting a new ratio will wreck your value. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to show. So if you maintain the value, if you maintain the same ratio, then you're not going to get wrecked. The R bots are not going to wreck you. But if you alter the ratio, then the R bots are going to wreck you. So maybe if I open up another. All right. Let's price this in 1,000. So let's hope this works then. So now this is all brand new. All brand new. So therefore, in this particular one nature's flow is going to equal 1,000 affection. So do 1 LAU to 1 stable. Oh, this went through. That one went through. So do 1 LAU to 1 stable, then do 1 LAU to half a stable, and it will be a rather simple presentation of the bots driving down the price. Yeah, that's probably a good idea because that the stable coins, because it's like $1, so it's easy for people to wrap their mind around it rather than an 1,000 affection. Okay, do I have another LAU token? All right, let me just see. Okay, True Mind. I'll do it with True Mind. All right, I've got so many LAU tokens, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so let's do it with True Mind. So same process. I'm going to add True Mind. So maybe that made sense for some people. Maybe it didn't. For those that it didn't, we'll start again and we'll do it compared to one stable. So I'm going to import. I also have to now just quickly buy some stable coins. I'll just buy $1 of, actually what I'll buy, I don't know, I'll just buy $5 of a stable coin with my affection. Allow multi-hops, that should work now. All right, so it's going to cost me 295. All right, again, this is just another example of a ratio, right? So the ratio here is $1 equals how many affection? 59 affection. So now this is going to be bought out, and then with TrueMind, I'll do it 1-to-1. So that's a great suggestion, Malphite. And I'm going to get to these questions after, guys. I'm not ignoring. I'm just trying to follow a particular strand of thought, so we don't get too all over the place, because I can understand that would get complicated. So all right, so now let's get Nature's Flow. Sorry, it wasn't Nature's Flow, it was TrueMind. And then we're going to do it 1-to-1 with a stable coin. So this is super great suggestion. So this is super easy. This basically means now super easy. I'm praying to the universe and I'm praying to the gods. Please work. Please work. So basically all that we're doing here is we're basically saying one of my tokens is going to be worth $1. So it's going to enable it. Yep, I'll do that, Malphite. So we're going to enable, so what? It was enabled. Now it should be supply. Why? Maybe I have to enable both sides. Oh, there we go. So, no, now it's going to wreck me. All right, let's hope this works. Yeah, and I can't remember who said if I wanted to hide that. I do know that. The only reason why I don't is like, this is my public donation wallet. So I actually don't mind. I mean, I should mind, but I don't mind people seeing it because all of this is donated. So, and it's grown because of this LAU token. So I actually want to like really share that there is a lot of power to this. So, okay, cool. All right. So now we have that liquidity pool. So now let's go. Let's do what Malphite was suggesting. So let's do it with another stable coin so you can see the arbitrage straight off the bat. So we'll just get another stable coin USDC. So I'll swap one for one. And then I'll make another liquidity pool with another stable, and it will you'll see it get arbed out. And so while that loads as well, I'm hoping I'll be able to show, maybe it will show the liquidity pool. So that's done. So now let's do, before I do it. So if I wanted to get the correct ratio, because we know that basically one DAI stable coin is worth one USDC coin. So I should do 1-to-1. But the reason why people were getting themselves wrecked is because the ratios were off. So they might do something like this. So before I confirm this, I'll actually just want to bring this up and see if it comes up in this. So this is where I'm like monitoring all of my liquidity pools and the value of the liquidity pools. It might not read it because the value is going to be too low. It might only read it if it's got a certain like dollar value in there, but let's just have a look. Nice. So it's got it in there. So that it doesn't really show it. So yeah. Then that's not really you won't even really be able to see the arbitrage there. But But yeah, this is how when you would basically, I mean, I'll do it. So I'm going to do this, and then basically the arbitrage bot is going to look at this and go, oh, in this liquidity pool, really, 1 is worth 1.5, which means $1 is going to be worth 2. And in the other liquidity pool, $1 was worth 1, which means in this new liquidity pool now, it's like a bargain. They can buy this one in this liquidity pool where it's worth double, and this is arbitrage where it's worth double. Actually, let me bring this up. Maybe this will even punctuate the point, and it might not necessarily because now the ratios would have switched. It hasn't arbed it yet. So in this one, 1 is worth 1. In this one, 1 is worth 0.5. Whoops, 0.5. But in actuality, they're both exactly. I haven't supplied it yet. So can you see now, if I set this ratio, half of $1 is worth one of these, which means in this liquidity pool, 1 actually equals 2. So I hope that's clear. So therefore, the R bot is going to look at the different prices of these and say, well, this one is more expensive than this one. This one is cheaper than this one. So in other words, the R bot will buy out of this one where it's cheaper and sell it into this one where it's more expensive, and then it will make $1 profit. So if it bought the whole one out of here and sold it into here, it only costed $1 plus the gas, and then it's going to swap it into this one, and it's going to get its $1 back and plus leave the $1 in there. But then that's what creates the price discrepancy where the price of this one is going to go down and the price of this one is going to go up. So then this is what creates that movement in the liquidity pool. So then when you guys were setting your ratios and getting wrecked, just the values would have been off. So you would have made them where, yeah, they're just too different. And then the R bots are just saying, oh, yeah, we're gonna even that out. So that's what would have happened where people would have lost value in those liquidity pools. So I'll just supply this one now. Because now once this happens, you'll be able to see, hopefully you'll be able to see if the R bot comes in. There might not be enough value in here. Exactly. So one of the LAUs is worth 1, and then the second one is going to be worth more. So now that's supplied. So now if the R bots can actually go through a pool that's this small, we'll see if they can. I mean, they should based on gas. Has it supplied? I thought it supplied. Okay, there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to refresh that, and I'm going to refresh this one. Because if the R bots, the R bots haven't gone through it yet. They might not because the value of the pool is so small. But can I get a yes or a no that that concept of the ratio makes sense? In the chat with people that are following along. So we'll just take it one step at a time, and then I'll answer some of these other questions. The bot might take a while, but what you can do is try to buy one of your LAU. I mean, it makes sense for you, Malphite, because I think you've been doing this. But yeah, that's a great idea. I'll do that now. So let's do that. All right, nice. Makes sense for Sergey as well. Robert, makes sense for you as well. So now I'm going to buy. I'll do that. I'll do that, Malphite. Good suggestion. So True Mind. Let's buy one with half a stable. And of course, there's not much value in these liquidity pools, right? So there's going to be slippage here. This is another concept that, I mean, there's going to be a massive slippage here because there's only like, how can I explain the concept of slippage? It's just supply and demand. So remember the C word virus, toilet paper, and you'd go to the shops and everybody's buying toilet paper, and it was just the most batshit insane, ridiculous, like, what? Everybody just flooded, like people were fighting each other for toilet paper. It was supply and demand. It's the same thing here. There's like not enough tokens in there, and you're trying to buy like basically all the tokens that are in there. Look, you can see here. Let me just you can already see maybe that the R bots have started doing something. Hang on a second. I mean, really, this should probably be about 0.1 because it was 1 to 0.1. So this should also be 0.1. But there's still like a slippage. Oh, look at that. That's clearly showing what slippage does, that 6.5. That's something that I'm going to have to keep wrapping my head around. But anyway, I'll buy it with half. Confirm. I'm going to get a huge slippage. I kind of need to do it with more ones with more value so you can actually see it move. Thanks, Robert. At least hopefully you can understand the concept of the ratio, right? So the 1-to-1. Now in one pool, the ratio is 1-to-1 with a stable coin, and in the other pool, the ratio is like 1-to-2 with a stable coin. So then there's a price discrepancy between the two pools. It's like, I mean, that's what arbitrage is, right? So the kimchi premium with Bitcoin, I don't remember which way it was because I wasn't around in those days, but basically Bitcoin was trading for, I don't know, I'm just going to pull numbers out of my ass here. Bitcoin in Korea was trading for like $3,000, but in the rest of the world, it was trading for $5,000. So in other words, people would basically be able to like go to the Korean exchanges, buy one Bitcoin for $3,000 and then sell it into a US exchange for $5,000. So they paid $3,000, they got $5,000, so that their profit then is that $2,000 gap. That's their profit. So that's what arbitrage is doing here as well. So with these pools, one was worth $1, the other one was worth basically half a $. So then there's an arbitrage there. So then if it can swap it all, it's going to get $0.50 in profit. That's the arbitrage. Same concept. So yeah, we did a swap there. And then over time, as you continue to do this, the values will keep shifting. So then, now, if I know that, here you go. So now you can start to see that this has changed. So obviously now the R bots are starting to move, and I wish I could show it. Put a pick in a pub, for example. Stephen, put a pick in pub, for example. You put a pick in the pub, for example, or should I? Did you do that, Frank? I hope you did it, Frank. Because I mean, if people help with this sort of stuff, it's dope. All right, let's have a look what Frankie said. What is this front end, Frank? So the best routes. Oh, yeah, here you go. So, yeah, here you go. So, yeah, this one it's worth 0.46 and this one it's worth 0.29. So then the R bot is going to want to find the deal. Yeah, good idea. And then try to buy $1 worth of tokens. So anyway, I'll do an offline video. I think I'll do an offline video. Now that I'm at least seeing the questions and what people are wanting to understand, it's going to make it easier. I'm just going to go through some of these questions because I know some of these people are asking, so at least they can maybe take it away. And for the people who have been able to understand this kind of concept. So what's up, HexWatt? let's just go through some of these concepts. I have affection and would like to farm it. Is there a farm in place or a liquidity pool I could use? No. So the farms, let's be also clear. I mean, the language is very important in crypto. It's kind of frustrating in a way. I mean, it's important everywhere, but the farms are on PulseX that are only set up. You only have these farms on PulseX. So the farms will farm you INC. So you can't farm affection. But if you're asking about, I have affection, would like to, maybe if you're asking about providing it in liquidity, you can do that when you go to when you go to trade and liquidity, and you could basically have like, there might be pre-existing affection pools. So you might go like affection and pulse chain and then put, I don't know, whatever, 10,000 in there, and you could supply that, and you would have 0.88% of the share of the pool. So then you would get 0.88% of the volume going into your liquidity pool. That's auto compounding. So yeah, low background music would be a good idea. I have thought about that. So Rye was asking some questions before that I wanted to quickly answer. Where were they? About actually going through the process of swap. Would be cool to see a real simple swap you do in for an LP. Okay, so that's what I will show. So, okay, I did have this all set up and ready to go with my Bayfection. So you can see here, can I zoom in on this? So you can see here, Bayfection. This is me running my buy bot. So I'm swapping 0.011 Bayfection into a particular liquidity pool, which was Asgard make the grade. So then I'm swapping into there, and then the R bots are doing these other swaps. So the R bot is coming in, and maybe let's see if it's filling up that same pool. Maybe it will fill up that one, or maybe it will do another one. It just depends where the price difference is. And then, so this one was Asgard. So then the R bot comes in, buys some Asgard, swaps it for affection, and then swaps it into Milady, and then swaps it for Pulse Chain Milady. Boy, that was I put Milady with Bayfection. That was a great little liquidity thing. So, okay, so all of these numbers here are, this is why I don't want to introduce the buy bot yet either, because it's like just taking it in steps, and I'm also still taking it in steps. So at least if you guys can at least see, all right, so then if I was to do that manually, for example, so Ryan, what you're asking, so let's do that manually. So let's go to Bayfection. So I would go to Bayfection, and then Asgard, please make the grade. Here we go, make the grade. So this is adding liquidity, sorry. Bayfection. So basically, I'm programming my bot to do this, but manually is this is what I started to do. So I was doing everything manually for the first few weeks until I applied my buy bot to it. So my buy bot was basically doing this, right? So then it would buy this much Asgard. So it's just a swap, right? So it's just supply and demand. So now if we have a look at this liquidity pool, let's clean this up. So please be Bayfection. That's not Bayfection. Let me just get the Bayfection liquidity pool set up so you can just see what that would actually mean. So yeah, visually in my mind as like a concept, it's getting clearer and clearer, but the explanation hopefully is getting a bit clearer and clearer. Holy shit. Wow, that's gone up a lot. Wow, I'm quite surprised by that and very pleased. So Asgard now has 1,000 liquidity in it. So basically, the base amount is the amount of the base token. In this case is Bayfection, and the quote amount is Asgard. So I mean, here you can see actually like one. Yeah, I mean, you can see here, right? Look at this. See how it's 0.111 and it's 0.01069. And you can see here as well, like the ratio is 3.3 to 3.1. So it's almost 1-to-1. So it's almost like one Bayfection equals one Asgard, almost. Whereas here, it's like, one Bayfection equals a lot of Milady. A lot of Milady. So in any case, what I'm doing in this instance is I'm swapping Bayfection for Asgard. So then what would happen here with these numbers? So what would happen here? I'll take these numbers and I'll bring up my little notepad. So then I'll take those two numbers. So 3.32, 3.302. And then the Asgard, there's this much Asgard in there. I'll just separate this by a little bit. So then if I'm swapping 0.011 for this much, so then in the end, what will be in that liquidity pool will be an extra 3.302. So that's the original Bayfection. Then I'm swapping into it with this much Bayfection. So then I would have 3.3, had to be 3.3131. And then on this side, because it's taking out that much Asgard, so I'm taking that Asgard from the liquidity pool because I'm swapping in my Bayfection for it. Oh, sorry. So that's a minus rather. Oops, sorry. Hang on a second. So let me just start that again. So minus equals. So then it would have this much. So now there's more Bayfection in there and less Asgard because I've swapped in Bayfection and taken out Asgard. So then the R bots, depending on how much the price difference is compared to the other liquidity pools, they will come in, and this is where the R bots are coming in and actually doing these swaps. So then when I'm doing this swap, the R bot is saying, hey, there's a deal in that liquidity pool now compared to another liquidity pool. So just like the kimchi premium, just like I buy one Bitcoin from a Korean exchange for 3,000 and I sell it to an American one for 5,000, it's doing exactly the same. It's exactly the same principle. And so therefore, in this instance, now basically it is then filling up. So now Asgard, it's swapping Asgard into there. It's swapping Asgard into there. So therefore, after that, the R bot comes in, it's going to swap in that much Asgard, and it's going to take out this much Bayfection. This much Bayfection. So therefore, maybe that's what I'll do. So plus, and then minus. And then in this instance, it's doing plus, and then minus. So therefore, after this, then the calculations will be that minus this equals that. So that's the new value of the liquidity pool on the affections, on the Bayfection side. And then on this side, plus there. Okay. I mean, this is, a better situation than normal because now we've ended up with even more Asgard than what we even started with, because in this particular swap, it left even more Asgard in there than what I took out of it. So this is like an ideal scenario, but this is kind of rare. Normally it doesn't put more back into it. So in other words, I swapped in my Bayfection for this. So in my wallet, I also have, let's just say I've used up all my Bayfection now. I've got 0 Bayfection and I've got this much Asgard in my wallet. But now, by interacting with the Dysnomia, by interacting with the chat log, I can type something in here and mint some coins. And then I've minted, say, 18. So I also have 18 in my wallet now. So then when I add, I can basically add, let's say, whatever the ratios are pretty close at the minute. So maybe it will end up being like, I don't know, 0. Let's just so it's really mostly super clear. I would then add this much. The ratio would just be automatically set by pulse X. I would basically be adding this newly minted Bayfection, and therefore the liquidity pool now on the Bayfection side is going to have, whoops, this much plus 0.011. So it's going to have this much, and then this side is going to have, this much plus the Asgard that I had in my wallet that I swapped into it. So in other words, we started with 3.32, and the Bayfection side is not, to be honest, for me, it's not really the relevant side. It's the Asgard side that's relevant. That's the side that has the value. So we started with this much, and then through this one particular swap, and then the arbitrage came in. Now we've ended up with, whoops, what happened there? We've ended up with this much. Where did that 3.31 come from? Oh, my mistake. So the top one. So now we've ended up with this much. So we have more in there. We have more Asgard in there now. So now if you're doing this on repeat, auto looping. So I've prepared these because I prepared this document from before. So for example, with this liquidity pools Versal, you can download, you can export the all the values here. So I did this, but so basically I did this before I set my buy bot. And then in there was 6,608. And then if we go to Asgard here, you can see, so this is before I started doing the buy bot, there was 0.89 Bayfection in there and 0.98 Asgard in there. But then after I finished with the buy bot, now there was 3.2 and 3.19, and the liquidity is 7.2 thousand. So I've effectively, my liquidity went up by from 6,600 to 7,200. But as it's doing that, it's also because the arbitrage, it's you have to pay attention to these numbers as well, because it's like ever so slowly like taking out of these numbers as well. So if we have a look at some of these numbers, for example, and also as the ratio is changing, the value of the Bayfection is changing, all these numbers are also going to be changing as well. So if we have a look at Genesis now, for example, 1.638, actually, let's put them side by side. So Genesis here, 1.68 and 0.085. Genesis here is, so see here, there's less Genesis. There's less Genesis, but there's more Bayfection. So even though like this is where, yeah, it's going to like ever so slowly start to drain out your other pools as well. So then this is where you can strategize whether you want to just pump one particular token and pump that up, or you can pump them all up together and just buy into one and swap and swap and swap in that way. So I hope now that makes it clear about the swapping. So then all I'm doing is I'm swapping here. I did that swap. So let's do it right now. Right, let's do it right now. So essentially this is what my buy bot is doing. So I just showed you what it looked like mathematically. Now I'm going to show you practically. And so now it's doing that swap. So as it's doing that swap, I'll just go to add liquidity. See, it's done it. And now I've got, and then hopefully, well, let's see now if it did do an arbitrage. Let's see if it did do an arbitrage. But even then, hopefully by now you'll be able to see, like, it might not happen every single time, but that's what you want it to do. You want to basically get the number so right that it does it every single time. So in this instance, it didn't do it. Wow, there's been a lot of shifts in the Bayfection. Oh, maybe Milady's pumping. See that? Milady had a pump and then it had a dump. So all that's filling up my liquidity pools. That's the other thing, man. So look at all that volume that flows through my pools. All that volume. So that I'm not doing anything. That's just from the Milady, because I'm a big liquidity provider for Milady. So as it's they're not touching my token, but Milady's pumping. So then it's also fluctuating the ratio of that pool with Bayfection, which is also fluctuating the ratios with everything else. So it didn't do one, but yeah, you could see from before, right, that sometimes it'll do it, but then that's it. That's the process. So then all I'm doing is I just add that in. So then I'll go here and I would add it in maybe like every few minutes. I can do this. I mean, oops, not my lady. To create a bot, I mean, I just used ChatGPT to help me out with it. So, oops. I just use ChatGPT, then I would supply it, and then it's basically adding it into the liquidity pool. And then as you're doing that, you can slowly scale up your buys. So then eventually, instead of buying 0.011, I can buy 0.033 over time because there's going to be even more liquidity in there, so I can do even bigger swaps. So this is why I would recommend doing it first without any buy bots and just watching what it's doing. Watching what it's doing here. Oh, here we go. So it did do a swap. It did one here. What's this little one? So this could have come from my swap. It could have come from anywhere. It could have come from yeah, I would say this was more likely the Milady because Milady's just pumping at the moment. So but also with this one, it's great because you can actually see it on the chart as well. So you'll be able to see. So I know my contract address ends in so it's my public contract address ends in 0.0. I think it's 029E or something. There you go. So you can see it here, 029E. So then this is what I would also do. So let's see here. So you can see it down here. So then this is the result of this is also the result of arbitrage down here. What was it? Sorry, 9829E. So you can see 9829E to here. I'm swapping, I'm selling, and then it's filling it back up with multiple arbs here. So yeah, hopefully though that makes it more clear. Let me just quickly go through some of these questions. But I'll probably will do this on a video as well, like a pre-recorded. Are you actually adding though? So yes, I am adding. So hopefully that's clear now, Sergey. When you want to add to the existing pool, it calculates the other token. Yes. So once you've created the LP, it's just calculating it automatically. It's only when you first set it up that you establish the ratio. And if you don't do the ratio correctly, then that's where the arbitrage bots are just going to go, oh, there's a discrepancy here, and they're going to arb it out to make it even. So that's why this pool will end up, the value of this pool will go down and the value of this pool will go up because they're kind of like evening it out. It's finding the equilibrium. But then once it's set, PulseX will just do it automatically. You just have to make sure that you get the first one right. And again, that's why I like to do it with just one affection, because if the ratio is wrong, the R-bot will fix it up. And then once you add more into it, then there's no problem. But if you get the ratio wrong and you're adding like $10,000 of LP, $10,000 of liquidity in that liquidity pool, and you get the ratio wrong, then you'll get wrecked. You'll lose like tons of value. So so we're closing the other pool and just leaving one fix it. I mean, once the ratio is set, then yeah, there's no need to close it, and it will always be in existence. So even if you take out all the, I'm pretty sure, like even if you take out all the liquidity, I've never tried that actually. I've never tried that. Yeah, I've never tried that, but I think even if I own 100% of the pool, so I'm pretty sure once you take it out, it will still, like there'll still be like a little scrap left on the blockchain that when you go to add it back in, that ratio will still be existing there. So it won't fix it. It'll just, yeah, like once it's done, once you've accidentally set that ratio and the R bots fix it up, then it's done. So let's see what else we got here. LAU crew, Torren, what's going on, man? What's going on, Via Boiv? I'm good, man. It's your morning. It's my night. It's past midnight now, so yeah, I'm probably going to jump off now, but I'm doing good, man. I had a good day, so my pleasure. Late stream. We'll catch the replay in the morning. Nice one, man. 33. Can you do something for me? I'll need to make another token and make pools with proper ratios. Yeah, I mean you can keep persisting with your current one, or you can just make another one. Like there's people like you saw, I had like 5 or 6, right? So yeah, you can just abandon that one and then just start another one, make it nice and simple for yourself. And like I said, I'll make another video with maybe just start to finish. The only reason why I prefer doing it this way as well, because I get the interaction, I can see what people are asking, but then also I don't have to edit it. It's just live. So, but anyway, I'll leave it with this. Hopefully now that makes it clear. And again, if you guys want to study more, have a look at stay of where was it? I had it up. I thought I had it up here. Maybe I independent stay of proceedings, make the grade Asgard. Look at those liquidity pools and how he set it up as well, just to see like the percentages of the supply. So again, I went through this yesterday, but yeah, the percentages of supply here, you can see obviously like, okay, there's a higher percentage of there's a higher percentage of tokens, Milady tokens, Bayfection tokens in the Milady pool. So whereas with Coexistent Steven, it was like the one liquidity pool with affection was the highest. So there's a huge supply. So what I'm trying to do with Bayfection is trying to bring like 5 up equally like what Make the Grade has. And the reason why I want to do it that way is so then there's 5 pools together that are moving together that can arbitrage against each other. And I feel like the ultimate thing, I mean, if you can, this is where Bayfection might be really awesome because I've got Milady. And in Milady, I'm like one of the top 5 liquidity providers for Milady. And then Genesis, I can also be one of the top providers in Genesis. So if I have like 5 of my top pools, but then what they're bonded with is also in the top with the other liquidity pools, like it's just going to fill up my LPs. It's really going to fill it up like so bad. So this is why I'm trying to pay attention to. I mean, G Baby. I should probably do it with more like maybe if I'm thinking about it now, I'll stick with Milady, I'll stick with maybe Genesis, G Baby, and then I might pick another maybe one of Maria's new launches, one of these new tokens that are bonded 1-to-1 with Treasury Bill, for example. So Ram, good to see you, bro. I will have a good rest. I was passing out like I need to. Oh man, but I do this to myself. I do it for the love. So yeah, hopefully that's made things clear. So take care, everybody.